Hi there, good afternoon, how's it going? Today is Sunday, December 1st, 2024, currently about 54 degrees Fahrenheit, that is 12 degrees Celsius. This is Willet High School, WHS, in the little town of Willits, Mendocino County, Northern California, where I grew up, in a big house in the woods out that road there. I'm going to walk through the high school here since it is Sunday and almost nobody around, although there are some people, looks like maybe practicing Christmas carols or something in there. So I went to high school here from 1985 to 1987 in 9th and 10th grades. So I'm going to give a very brief recap of my parents, my dad Jim and mom Vicky, and their lives leading up to our family, all of us, and my younger brother Christo moving up here to Willits. Let's get away from this noisy machine here, but show this really cool mural and then wander through the halls of the high school, the same building and everything as when I was here long ago, and try to conjure up a few memories. I think even the lockers are the same, certainly the same location, and they look quite old. So I could have had one of these lockers right here. Let's see if, probably locked. Yep. Okay, let's walk around this way. So my mom and dad, Jim and Vicky, grew up in the Los Angeles, California area. They met at Long Beach State University, and long story short, they ended up moving to Vancouver, Canada in the early 70s, I think 1971, and then I was born there, and then they moved back to Los Angeles when I was just a year old, and we only lived there for maybe a year or so, and they wanted to get out of LA once again. And so my brother was born there, and then we moved up to Glen Ellen, this tiny little town in Sonoma County, north of the San Francisco Bay Area. Lived there for 2 years, and then my dad was looking for somewhere else to move to, and they had the back to the land aspiration and bought 40 acres of raw wilderness out there, which we will be going to in a second. So my mom is in my car in the parking lot in front of the high school here, and so she and I arranged to visit our old house in agreement with the woman who has lived there now since my parents sold it. My parents found this piece of land. We moved from Glen Ellen up here in 1977, and I was raised on the land out here. So spent basically my whole childhood from when I was 5 until 15, and then my parents ended up getting divorced, and I moved with my father and my brother down to the Bay Area and went to my last 2 years of high school there. First at Skyline High School for 11th grade, and then changed and went to Berkeley High School for my senior year and graduated from Berkeley High School. So there you can see Willits Wolverines. So tons and tons of memories of the fields here, playing all kinds of different games, soccer, football. I was on a football team. That was actually before I came to the high school, that was in 5th grade, but we would have played some games on the field there. That was the main field for various sports. And then there's a tennis court out there, the basketball. And then here is the library. So I will tell a quick story involving my friend Abram. So we would come into the library when we were here before classes had started and hang out there and wait for our first class. And Abram did something that got both of us kicked out of the library. And we got banned like for the rest of the year or something, or maybe just for a couple weeks or a month or something, I forget. But this is all exactly the same. So in protest, for the next, like, I don't know, week or something like that, then we would stand right here with our tongues against the window once the bell went off for classes to start. So as everybody was filing out of the library to go to classes, we would be standing next to each other right here with our tongues on the windows, just as a silly, stupid protest against our getting banned from the library. And I think we must have finally been allowed back in or something, I forget. But just one of many, many, many memories from my 2 years of going to high school here. And then this is where my hitchhiking began. Well, not exactly. As I told in my book, Following My Thumb, A Decade of Unabashed Wanderlust, then my hitchhiking began on the road out to the land, where I'm going to be driving in a minute. Because we lived out a dirt road, the school bus would take us all the way up to the bottom of the dirt road, so a few miles up the paved road, and then the school bus would drop me off at the bottom of the dirt road. And then from there, it was 1.5 miles out to our land. And so there were various ways that I could get up to our house. One was to have my mom or dad pick me up. That would happen sometimes, but they worked, and most of the time they weren't available to pick me up and give me a ride. Maybe they would call a friend, a neighbor, whatever, to come pick us up. But oftentimes I didn't get a ride and I would have to walk the 1.5 miles, which when you're, 6, 7, 8, 9 years old, that's a long walk. And so at some point I decided, okay, I'm just gonna take a seat, read my book, and wait for somebody to come along and give me a ride. Stick out my thumb. And so I started hitchhiking very young, when I was like 8 years old or something. And then when we were going to high school here, then oftentimes Abram and I would, and maybe other friends or whatever, not take the bus home, stay longer in town, and then we would hitchhike up that road right there, Sherwood Road. And so here's the cafeteria, the Wolverines again, the mascot. I had a really good English class in here with Mr. Davis, and many, many more memories. So that is going to do it for Willets High School. There's my silver Honda CR-V, Mom sitting in there. So let's head up to the land where I was raised, about a 10 to 15 minute drive out that way. This is going to be very interesting. It's been a long time since I've seen the house, and there have been many, many renovations on it. So it's going to be a bit of a, experience for me. Not only the old memories, but seeing how it has changed. And so I'm now inside the house. The stairs going up to the second level here. So the woman who lives here now, who bought the house in 1987 from my parents, is here with my mom. She didn't want to be in the video. My mom will probably be in the video a little later, but they are outside talking, and so I wanted to give a tour of the inside of the house here first. So this was my parents' bedroom. You can see great view, looking out at the surrounding hills, deck there, and then living space here, and then bedroom here. So a quick little story. My dad had finished constructing this room. I was maybe 6 years old or something, and he had varnished the floor. It was hardwood, not with the carpeting. It must have been summer because I remember that I was wearing cut-off jean shorts, and my dad was no longer here, and I came along and saw this very shiny, wet-looking floor and thought, oh, that looks really fun to slide across. And so I went sliding all over the floor in my shorts, and then didn't really think anything of it. And then, of course, my dad came across it and was like, holy moly, what the hell happened here? And I ruined my shorts in the process, of course. They got all like hardened up once the varnish solidified. Somehow he managed to straighten that out. Okay, sounds like they're back inside. All right, so they left, and I will probably include my mom in the video a little later once I get outside and do a tour of the land. So, bathroom here. This was added later because first we had an outhouse, and I will show the outhouse. The original outhouse is still here. Amazing. Very nice bathroom here, but we didn't have a bathroom in the house when we first moved in. So this was my brother and I's bedroom. And so it was originally much smaller, like this. This was the wall, and out here was the deck. So there was a deck that went all the way around the house. We had these little tricycle things called big wheels, these little plastic tricycle things, and you could go all the way around on the deck. And so we would just go around and around and around on the deck, driving our little toys. And then later there were various additions that went out onto the deck. So this was expanded because there was a bunk bed here for my brother and I. But as you can see, it was a fairly small room. And so we expanded here, and then we set up 2 bunk beds, one for each of us. You can see what is left over from that. You can see the boards that the old bunk beds were on. And then this was a shelf where I put my tape player and my cassettes back when I was, early teenager getting into music. And so that was my bunk bed. This was my brother's bunk bed, and so he had his shelves there. So those are the original shelves. And so it was great because we could have friends over, and then the friends could sleep on the bottom bunk. We both slept on the upper bunk. And then the amazing living room and kitchen area. So there was a wood stove, but it was here. And there you can see, that was the old stovepipe going up there. And so the new owner here did lots of different additions and renovations. So a really cozy living room area, nice high ceiling here. And so we had a rope swing that was tied somewhere up there. The fan wasn't there. And so the reason for the rope swing is because when they were building the house, then they built the second floor before finishing the stairs. And so a rope was attached to the ceiling to help with maybe getting equipment or something up there, or maybe sometimes people would get upstairs using the rope, something like that. But it was just part of the construction of the house to help in getting something up into the second level. And then I guess my brother and I enjoyed swinging on the rope. And so after the stairs were completed, they left the rope and later replaced it with a better one. And that became just part of our childhood, was this rope you could swing back and forth in the living room because it was such a high ceiling and a big, long living room. And so this is all in addition here. This was also part of the deck. Now you can see the deck goes out there. This is the original deck, but it was previously also along this edge. So that basically is the full tour of the inside of the house. So this was the mud room where you'd take off your shoes and boots, and the carport, and there is the outhouse. So that was one of the, if not the very first structure built on this land, because it was a raw piece of land. This area was a logging operation back in the 50s, I think. And so it had been all logged, and then 20 years later, the trees were starting to grow up when my parents were looking at the land. But it was just raw property, not a building on the land at all. And so one of the first things you need is a bathroom. And so we built this outhouse, and yep, this is the old building. It definitely seems smaller than I remember it. And so when you had to go to the bathroom, walk down the hill here, and it was a bit of a treacherous walk because there was a chinkapin tree, which that is the stump of, and chinkapins drop these really gnarly seed pods with massive spikes on it. So when it was the season of the chinkapin tree dropping its seed pods, then this would just be covered with all these really spiky seed pods. And my brother and I like to go barefoot all summer, and so you had to navigate around that somehow. So the outside view and the pond. So the pond was dug out some years after we moved in here. That is the owner's dog there. So, cute pond. So I guess my mom might not end up appearing in the video, we'll see, but she's talking with the owner still. So, this is a cabin that was built by a friend of my parents who came up here and decided to live here and build this cabin, and he decided to build it without using nails. And so it is all built using little wooden pegs. Now you can see some nails nailed into the sides. That was probably something pounded in there later. But he lived here for, I don't know how long, but maybe a couple years or something. And then he left, and then various other people lived here over the years, friends of my parents, etc. And so you can see it is just kind of abandoned. So there was a loft there, and so that was the bedroom. I remember getting stung by a bee here once. I was with one of the ladies that lived here and somehow got stung by a bee inside the room here, I think. So very classic, rustic, old cabin. Quite small, but cozy. And that is a shed that my dad built, which has now been converted into a living space. So you can see the house there, my mom and the owner walking back inside. There's the shed converted into the apartment, and the cabin up at the top of the road there, and some other family members of the people who are living there are walking up there right now. And so I can tell you the story of how I got the scar that I always forget which side it's on. I think it's on the right side. I have a little scar right in the corner of one of my eyes there. So what happened was, I was right here. I was holding a BB gun, and for some reason a soccer ball came rolling down the hill here. Probably somebody else had kicked it. Maybe my brother was up there or something. Yeah, it must have been that somebody else was up there, because I decided to try to kick the ball back to that person while I was holding the BB gun, and we're talking like a rifle-sized thing, BB gun, in my hand. And in the process, then I slipped and fell, and fortunately didn't shoot myself, but the butt of the gun hit me right there. So this was an orchard, still an orchard, but seems like less trees than were here when I was a kid, and then a garden here. And so this is the driveway going up to the main road up there. I had a tree house. Oh man, it's still there. Barely a house, but wow, that is cool to see that it is still actually there. Tree fort, whatever. That's it. 2 little levels. Pretty amazing. So I think that is going to conclude this tour. But I will try to get my mom in at the end and share a few thoughts here. Hey guys, so it's the next day. So yesterday we ended up talking with the owner of the house for a while, and then it started to get dark, so it was too late to show my mom. So we are back at her house in Ukiah, which is the next town south, about 30 minutes from Willits. So here's my mom, Vicky.
Oh, hello everyone. I'm glad to see you and enjoy watching Gabe's videos every lunchtime. I was going to talk a little bit about the house. We bought 40 acres in 1976. Christo and Gabe's father, Jim, went up there in 1977 and started building the house by taking down 12 oak trees, 10 oak trees, and taking the bark off. And then he got very strong men to help him raise the 12 poles, stabilize them. And then his brothers, John and Bill, came up and helped, I'm distracted,
Yeah.
and helped build a house that we all moved into with no heat, no water, no sewer, no stove.
I showed the
no
outhouse,
vacuum.
so it was just the outhouse down there.
No vacuum cleaner,
No electricity, right?
Right, no.
We had kerosene lamps the first couple years.
Okay, you're right.
Yeah.
We didn't get the propane till later. So we moved in with no amenities and just started our life there for the next 10 years, building, adding on to the rooms. The house was 20 by 40 feet, which was the largest in the neighborhood. Most people would start with just a room, but we went for the large scale house, and
then made it bigger.
Right.
With additions.
Right. So it came out with the second owner. It's just it's probably the most beautiful house in the neighborhood, I'm sure. We had quite a life there. Jim and I both worked at the hospital, And we sometimes took the boys down. They would wake up in the hospital bed in the morning.
Yeah, for various reasons, we might end up staying at the hospital.
Right.
Me and or my brother staying the night in the hospital, which was a fun thing for us, not because we were sick, but just because maybe you were both working or something.
We were both working. We both would be on night duty.
So it was fun for us because, for one thing, there was TV, which we didn't have at our house.
Oh, that's right.
And it was just a different kind of an experience staying overnight at the hospital.
Yeah, right. And Willits was just a really nice town. Also, up on our land, we knew all our neighbors, and we had wonderful gatherings. We had saunas. We had potlucks every week. We helped each other build. Jim was very knowledgeable at building, and it was just it was a wonderful life. We also did square dancing. We were involved in the schools and trying to improve them a little bit. I helped start the Willits drama group that became a theater. I played Nurse Ratched in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. And I actually had various jobs. I started out at the hospital. Then I became a home health nurse, and I was able to travel all over the North County of Mendocino and visit with old timers and learn the history and how people lived back. Well, they just lived really rural and really far away. I even went to Covelo, which was East Mendocino County, where native tribes had been forced to live together, which made for a difficult situation for them.
So one question that I had was, when we left Los Angeles the second time and moved up to Glen Ellen, was the plan to stay there only for a short while? When did the moving on to the land idea come into the equation?
That's a good question. The moving onto the land actually started in our first commune in 1970, when that was
in Los Angeles.
Yes, that was the prevailing discussion, was, how to get away from the standard culture, which seems so inhibiting and negative. And so we searched all over for land. We drove all over the western United States looking for land.
Oh, okay.
And that's why we ended up in Canada for a couple years. Then we came back to LA so that Jim could become a lab tech. Then we went to Glen Ellen because that's where he got a job.
Okay.
And so we were in Glen Ellen, and then we started working with a realtor in Mendocino County, and he found this property, which, was really daunting. It was raw land.
Yeah.
It didn't have anything on it. We built the house, the garden, the orchard, the cabin, the garage, and the pond. Put in a sewer system and telephone lines. We were just busy for the whole 10 years.
Yeah.
Trying to make it a house, a home.
Yeah, but it was all worth it.
It was. It was
good place to grow up.
Met amazing people.
Yeah. All right, cool. Well, that is all for now. I am heading north tomorrow, and then I have no idea where I'm going after I get back to Oregon, where I park my car. But I'm thinking about lots of interesting locations. So that's all for now. More coming sometime.